Do you always struggle using the same adverbs of frequency when you want to explain how often you do something? Don't worry, you're not alone in this. So today, I'm going to show you lots of different adverbs of frequency that you can use to express yourself. So you're not stuck using the same ones. So you're going to be a pro in no time. First up is always. This means at all times or on all occasions. For example, I always wake up at 6 a.m. every morning. The second one is usually, which means that something normally happened. An example of this, I usually have coffee in the morning. Hold on, do you sometimes get confused between always and usually? Well, always means 100%. And usually means 80%. Like, I always brush my teeth after dinner versus I usually take a nap in the afternoon. Our next adverb is often. Now you can pronounce this either often or often. It's up to you. Both are okay to use. It's similar to usually. This means many times. For example, I often go swimming at the weekend. Next up, we have normally, which is quite similar to usually. It means in normal circumstances. For example, I normally read before I go to bed. Are you finding this useful so far? Well, keep watching because I'm just about to tell you the difference between sometimes and occasionally. This one's important. Occasionally is our next one. For example, I occasionally go to the spa for a treatment. Next is sometimes. This means occasionally, but not all of the time. For example, I sometimes watch movies with my family. Oh, and here's that tip. Sometimes typically suggests a frequency of about 50%, while occasionally suggests a frequency of around 30%. So just a slight difference there. Seldom is next. This is used when something doesn't happen often or is rare. I seldom travel by taxi. It's just too expensive. The next one is never, and this is a very strong word, meaning not at all, 0%. For example, I never sleep at work. Actually, I hope you never miss my videos. The next one is hardly ever. This means very rarely. I hardly ever miss my yoga class. In just a moment, I'm going to show you some adverbs that are not usually used but can take your fluency up to the next level. The next one is constantly. This means that something happens continuously over a period of time, or always. She's constantly checking her phone. The next one is continually. This is similar to constantly, meaning repeated frequently in the same way. For example, I'm continually improving my English because I subscribed to English Lingo with Jordan. If you haven't, do it now and never miss a video and continually improve your English. The next one is frequently. This is when something happens regularly or often. For example, he frequently visits his grandmother. The next one is infrequently, which is the opposite of frequently and means not often or rarely. I infrequently travel abroad. Don't go anywhere just yet because the next few adverbs I'm sure you don't use very often, and that is something we can change. So the next one is intermittently. This means at irregular intervals, not continuously. For example, it's been raining intermittently all day. So rain, sun, right? Not constantly, of course. The next one is periodically. This one means at regularly occurring intervals. For example, I periodically check my email throughout the day. The next one is rarely. We kind of touched upon this before when we're talking about using seldom. They have the same meaning, which is not often. For example, I rarely watch TV. I mostly watch YouTube. The next one is regularly. This means that something is done with a constant or definite pattern, especially with the same space between individual times. For example, I regularly play tennis at the weekends. The next one is routinely, and this is used when we're talking about something that is part of a regular procedure rather than something that happens for a special reason. For example, my boss routinely checks our work. The next one is almost never. This is very similar to hardly ever. For example, I almost never drive to work. Up next, we're diving into adverbs that are all about time intervals. So the first one is quarterly. So this describes something that happens once every 3 months. Our team has a quarterly meeting to discuss the progress of the projects. The next one is weekly, which refers to something that happens once a week. For example, my daughter has a weekly piano lesson. Here's a great tip for you. Using weekly, monthly, quarterly to talk about habits or routines that are scheduled is fantastic. Use them in your next English conversation to impress your friends. Lastly, we have now and then, which you can contract to now and then. This is similar to occasionally and means from time to time. Although it's not technically an adverb, it is commonly used like one. For example, I go for a long walk now and then to clear my head. There you have it. Those are all 22 adverbs that I mentioned I was going to share with you today. Let me know in the comments which one was your favorite and make some examples. I look forward to reading them. Also, if you usually find it difficult to find a speaking partner, I have plenty of tips for you in this video right here for you to practice by yourself without needing a speaking partner. Go check it out.